Have you ever noticed that whenever you feel stuck or indecisive, it's often because your logical mind is trying to protect you, while your intuition is trying to guide you somewhere new? We need both, but when they stop working together and start pulling you into opposite directions, that's when you might get stuck in analysis paralysis. That's when you overthink. Most of the intelligent people does that. It's because they are capable. They think, and then they think about their thinking, and then they think about what might happen if they are wrong. They imagine every possible outcome, every possible mistake, every possible opinion other people could have about them. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something. You are not lazy, and you are probably not lacking discipline either. You may simply be trapped in invisible prison of your own mind. The more possibilities your mind sees, the harder it becomes to choose one. Your mind keeps searching for certainty. It wants proof that everything will work out before you begin. But when it comes to the things that truly matter in life, that certainty rarely comes first. No one gets certainty before taking the first step. And yet, so many of us keep waiting. Waiting until we feel confident enough. Waiting until we know enough. Waiting until we are completely ready. But being ready isn't something that comes before action. What if readiness is something that grows because of action? Think about it. How many things have you wanted to do? Not just for a week, but for months or years. Maybe you have wanted to write a book, share your art, change careers, travel, speak your truth to someone, or become the version of yourself you have secretly imagined for a very long time. Now ask yourself something. What is actually stopping you? Not the excuse, the real reason. Is it the lack of time? Or is it the fear of failing? Is it the lack of money? Or is it the fear of what other people might think? Is it really the circumstances? Or is it the story you've been telling yourself? Be radically honest, because honesty with yourself is where your freedom begins. Sometimes the obstacle isn't outside of us. It's the conversation happening inside our own minds. And that conversation deserves our attention. Because once you become aware of it, you can begin questioning it. Ask yourself, how do I speak to myself when nobody else is listening? Am I encouraging myself or constantly criticizing myself? Am I still judging myself for mistakes I made years ago? Am I expecting perfection before I allow myself to begin? Whose voice am I actually hearing? Is it mine? Or is it someone who once made me believe I wasn't good enough? Sometimes we spend years believing our inner critic is our own voice, when in reality, it's simply an old thought we have repeated to ourselves so many times that it eventually became a belief. But every belief can be questioned. Every story can be rewritten. And everything changes the moment you stop believing every thought your mind produces. Your brain is designed to protect you. That's its job. It constantly scans your environment, asking one question: am I safe? 1,000 years ago, that system helped us survive. Today, it still does. But there is one small problem. Your brain reacts to emotional uncertainty the same way it reacts to physical danger. So, when you are about to do something new, something meaningful, something that could change your life, your nervous system may interpret uncertainty as risk. And suddenly your mind starts producing thoughts like, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? What if this is a mistake? From a spiritual perspective, you could say that's the voice of the ego, the part of the mind that tries to protect you by keeping you inside what's familiar. Those thoughts feel incredibly real. Your mind begins creating possible future scenarios, and your nervous system reacts as if they are already happening. That's why anxiety can feel so overwhelming. You are responding to imagined outcomes as though they were reality. But those are often just the predictions created by fear. Your brain isn't showing you the future. It's simply imagining possible futures in an attempt to protect you. And because our brains naturally pay more attention to potential threats than potential rewards, the negative scenarios usually become much louder. That's why overthinking feels so convincing. Not because it's accurate, but because it's trying to keep you safe. Avoiding every possible risk also means avoiding many beautiful opportunities. And over the time, your brain stops protecting your life and starts protecting your comfort zone. Those are two very different things. Comfort feels safe. Growth feels uncertain. And uncertainty is exactly where transformation begins. Sometimes logic is simply fear wearing a very convincing disguise. And that's why it's so difficult to recognize. Your logical mind is incredibly valuable. It helps you solve problems. It helps you learn to make wise decisions. But when fear quietly takes the driver's seat, your mind stops looking for possibilities. Every opportunity becomes a risk. Every dream becomes a problem to solve. Every step forward becomes another reason to stay where you are. That's when overthinking becomes a prison. When fear has taken control of the conversation. This is also the moment when many people lose touch with something incredibly important: their intuition. Intuition isn't something mystical that only a few people have. Every human being has it. We have simply learned to doubt it. Intuition rarely screams. It doesn't overwhelm you with hundreds of thoughts. It's very subtle. A quiet feeling. A sense of knowing. A gentle pull towards something. Sometimes you can't even explain why. You just know. But when your mind joins the conversation, you start asking, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm embarrassing myself? What if everyone thinks you are crazy? What if this doesn't work? And within seconds, that quiet inner knowing becomes almost impossible to hear. It's not because intuition disappeared, but because fear became louder. A lot of highly intuitive people don't even realize how intuitive they are. Because every intuitive feeling is immediately questioned, immediately analyzed or explained away. Have you ever had feeling and later realized you were right? Or felt deeply drawn towards an opportunity before you could explain why? Or sensed that something wasn't right, even though everything looked perfect on the surface? Many people dismiss those experiences. But what if your mind isn't supposed to explain everything? What if sometimes its job is simply to listen to your feelings and inner knowing? So, how do you know whether it's fear or intuition? Fear usually speaks in endless questions. What if? It keeps searching for certainty and it can be very loud. Intuition is different. It usually feels much quieter and simpler. It doesn't argue with you, it simply nudges you. Fear creates urgency. Intuition creates clarity. You just know. Fear makes your world feel smaller. Intuition invites you to expand. Neither feeling should be followed blindly, but one deserves your attention while the other deserves your curiosity. So, next time you feel stuck, ask yourself, am I protecting my future or am I protecting my comfort zone? Then ask another question. If nobody could judge me, would I still hesitate? Sometimes the answer to that one changes everything. Awareness is where change begins. Every time you choose courage over certainty, you are teaching your nervous system something new. You are showing yourself that uncertainty doesn't always lead to danger. Sometimes it leads to the life you have been waiting for. Now, if you learn to recognize the difference between fear and intuition, you might be asking yourself, how do I know the difference between intuition and my imagination? Intuition keeps coming back. It keeps telling you the same thing over and over again. Imagination eventually fades. So, what if the life you have been waiting for has been waiting for you too? Not for a better version of you, not for a more confident version, not for a version that has all the answers, just for the version that's finally willing to begin. So listen to your heart and your intuition. They often know the direction long before your mind understands the path. What your heart keeps calling you toward may be exactly what you came here to do. Trust it and take the first step. Thank you for being here with me today. Love you all.